Hey guys, this is Statton. Welcome to another Heart to Heart with Statton, where feelings matter but the facts come first. Now, I've been going back and forth with my desire to make a video on this or not to, and I've been kind of passing this through my mind for about a month now. In fact, one of my friends, when I ran this by them, suggested that I don't make this video because they were worried that I could get canceled. And maybe so. I don't honestly believe I'm popular enough to be canceled. It's not like I'm at all famous or anything. Maybe popularity isn't necessary. Maybe you can do it to a guy theoretically that has only 5 subscribers. I don't know. But anyways, if you've been keeping up with my heart to heart videos, you'll remember that there's a time where I said, hey, if you want to cancel me, but guess what? It doesn't do any good in the end because I'm still going to make videos and I'm still going to post them. And I trust everybody has a mind of their own. Like, for example, I'm not going to just suddenly stop watching someone because they are publicly canceled. First, if I find out someone's being canceled, I'm going to look into the reason behind it. And if I don't think the reason's a good reason, I'm still going to watch them. Being canceled doesn't stop me. There might be some that'll stop posting because they were canceled. I don't know, but I'm not going to be one of them. I think this whole cancel culture thing is really stupid and it's gotten out of control. But anyways, now that I got that out of the way, the main subject is something I mentioned before is finally happening. I mentioned as easily offended as we're all becoming, as thin-skinned as we are, we're reaching a point where we're having to walk on eggshells around each other, and it's a very stressful thing. And I'm starting to experience that firsthand. For example, there's a group I've been gaming with, and they're very nice people, but some of the things that they're making a big deal out of, I think they're blowing it out of proportion. It's gotten to the point where I myself have to be careful what I say, even when I say in jest. One of the examples is we were fighting a monster, and the monster was called the Black Pudding. And while we were fighting it, and this is a game thing, obviously, but while we were fighting it, one of the girls mentioned that there were tentacles coming out of the Black Pudding. And for some reason, I had the quote from Monster House, if you've ever seen the movie. If you haven't, I would recommend it. It's a good movie, but I had a quote from that movie going through my head where they're inside the house, and the girl that's with them mentions the light or the chandelier is the uvula of the house. So the kid's like, oh, so it's a girl house. So I gave my own version of that quote because she mentioned tentacles coming out of the Black Pudding. And I said, oh, so it's a girl pudding. Well, that was enough to get some people upset because apparently they know people that are non-binary, and they say that those non-binary people would be offended. Now, I know not all people are the same, so I don't believe all non-binary people would be offended by that. But I'm just so irritated by this that there'd be anyone at all that just because they're non-binary that they would think or interpret the word man, woman, boy, girl as an attack on non-binary people. that those 4 words I just listed off are now starting to become just as taboo as, say, a racial slur. And that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous that we have to walk on eggshells to the point now where we can't say man or woman, boy or girl, because there's a chance even those words are now offensive. Really? And I tried to explain that to them. I just jokingly said it was a girl pudding. They're like, yeah, but the pudding has no gender, and to claim it does would be offensive to non-binary people. You have got to be kidding me. So I tried to tell him that's not an attack on non-binary people. Male and female are still things. They still exist. These are everyday words that we use. Are we to abandon everyday speech? Because now people are starting to find that offensive? Really? If you've reached a point where those words are offensive to you, you have it made in life, because there are so many other things, so many worse things you could hear out there in the world. And on an sort of an unrelated subject, it's got to the point where now people are saying no U-turn signs are homophobic and should be taken down. I heard something about that on the news. Really? I'm at a loss for words, people. Is this really what we've come to? Are we really gonna be this easily offended? And but then during the conversation when I was trying to explain my case, they just kept saying, yeah, we know, but we got to be inclusive. So if I express the 2 sexes of that are biologically scientific, I'm not being inclusive. And the irony of that logic right there. Okay, well, if we have to pretend that man and woman are not a thing, how's that being inclusive to those who are men and women? Those that don't do the whole non-binary thing, how's that being inclusive toward them? It isn't. It's hypocritical. Look, if you want to be non-binary, I'm not going to give you a hard time for it. However, with that said, if you are one of those non-binary people that are offended by the 4 words, man, woman, boy, girl, and even male and female, I'm going to have to strongly suggest you grow up and get some thicker skin. Seriously. And I know I'm reaching a point where this video could be offensive. If you don't find this video offensive, great. If you do find it offensive, well, continue watching it anyways. It'll do you some good. You need some thicker skin. Gotta get some callus on that skin. Because to be honest with you, avoiding words and us catering to these ridiculous standards is only going to make you weaker and more sensitive in the long run. If you can't handle the whole male and female subject, you're not going to survive in the real world. Because there are so many worse things. This is completely ridiculous. Well, anyways, after a while I gave up. I just wanted to move on from the subject, from the argument. Well, it came my turn to fight. And if you've seen my Statton and Friends playlist, where you'll know that I joke around. I have a sense of humor, and I express it. And I expressed it this time around because when it came my turn to attack the black pudding, I said, well, I can't attack it because it's called the black pudding. If I attack it, I'll be racist. Well, that just suddenly started another uproar. And they're like, you're talking about sensitive subjects. You shouldn't be doing that. It's like, it was an innocent joke. And they're like, well, you shouldn't talk about religion and politics like that. Like, well, religion and politics had nothing to do with it. I was just making a joke. Now, I did, however, consider the possibility that maybe, just maybe, I was out of line. So, I found a coworker, and he's a good guy. And I asked him if it was okay if I could put this part in the video, and he said yes. Well, and he's a black guy, so I told him everything I just told all of you, and I asked him, was I out of line? And he said no. He said there are people that are just being too sensitive. He's like, I don't see anything offensive with what you said. You weren't attacking non-binary people, nor were you attacking black people. Now, he's like, I don't even think it's offensive to call people black or anything. And he even used an example. He said, he says, you want to know what bothers me more? And I said, what? He's like, it bothers me more when people want to call me African American, actually. Because, and these are his words, bear in mind, because I had never been to Africa once in my life. So when I fill out applications for jobs and I check, and there's the, it asks you what you are, he says, I will cross out a line through African American and write the words Black American under it and check it. He's like, because that's what I am. He's like, I don't think you did anything wrong. And to be honest with you, his words, man, that was such a heavy weight off my shoulders. And it confirmed what I was thinking the whole time, that this was not a big deal. Was not a big deal at all. There's no reason for people to be this sensitive, to be so easily offended. That's the sad part. It doesn't take much to be a victim anymore. But the question is, or not a question, but the thing is in my own mind, I don't know why people want to be a victim so bad. I don't know why people want to be this sensitive to where they completely lose their minds over some of the dumbest things. Can't we all just be happy? Can't we all just tell innocent jokes? We're reaching a point where if those innocent jokes I made are offensive to some people, then we're reaching a point where not too long from now, the old "why did the chicken cross the road" joke's going to be offensive. It's going to be either offensive to chickens or it's going to be offensive to roads. Maybe even both. I'm not sure. But my point is if you find stupid things like that offensive, people catering to you is only going to make you weaker in the long run, because you're only going to find something new to be offended about. If you're offended by a no U-turn sign, you have it made, because that means you have nothing else to focus on that's supposedly offensive. If you're offended because someone uses one of the biological sexes as a word to describe something, once again, you have it made. Because there is real hate out there in the world. There is real hate out there. Now, I'm not saying these things to say, oh, don't be non-binary. That's not what I'm saying at all. You see, if you want to be the whole, if you want to be non-binary, that's your business. I won't say anything good or bad about it. But when you take it to the level where you try to play victim or act like something is an attack when it isn't as a result of it, then it becomes a problem. Then it becomes ridiculous. And then that's where I will start speaking against it. And that should be reasonable. The world doesn't have to agree with you in order for you to not be a victim. If you're looking for universal acceptance, it isn't going to happen. There's always going to be individuals out there in the world that'll disagree with you. And some will even stand against you. You can't let that make or break your happiness. There are people that disagree with me. I'm not going to fall apart over it. There are people that have left even negative comments under my videos. Some of them saying that my thinking is, by the way, this is their words, not mine, so I shall tone it down. But there's even one comment under one of my videos that said my thinking is effed up. I'm not going to play a victim. Because I'm over that comment. I'm not a victim. People are allowed to disagree with me, and I'm okay with that. We gotta reach a point where enough's enough. We gotta stop catering to everyone's feelings. Because we're becoming more sensitive as a result. We need to learn that if you want people to tolerate you, you have to tolerate them as well. Not everyone's going to agree with you. Get over it. Seriously. Toughen up. You'll be happier for it. Enough. Not everything is an attack on you just because it doesn't align with your beliefs. And there we go. That is my tough love speech to all of you. And I stress the word love. I'm not saying this because I hate anybody, although I'm pretty sure that there's still going to be people out there that will find this video offensive. There's probably going to be people that'll watch it that'll say, oh, well, this still counts as hate speech, or whatnot. At this point, I don't care. I'm not walking on eggshells anymore. I'm not going to go out of my way to be offensive. That's not how I do things. But I'm not going to worry about it either, because there's no sense in it. Anyways, my name is Statton. Like, share, and subscribe. And remember that you are not alone. And y'all have yourselves a wonderful day.